So let's talk about something that could, and I mean literally, be the difference between life and death. If you're in Alabama, do you need a CPR certification or a BLS certification? And what's the difference anyway? It might sound like a minor detail, but trust me, knowing the answer is absolutely crucial, whether you're a coach, a teacher, a nurse, or really just anyone who wants to be prepared for the unexpected.
First things first, let's set the stage and understand the stakes here. When someone's heart stops, a clock starts ticking. And we're not talking hours, we are talking about minutes. Every single second is precious.
Look at this number, 10.5%. That's it. According to the very latest data, that is the overall survival rate for someone who has a cardiac arrest outside of a hospital. It's a really sobering number, and it shows you just how critical an immediate response is.
So really ask yourself this question. It's so easy to think of this as something that happens to, other people somewhere else. But the data tells a completely different story. It shows this kind of emergency is most likely to happen right where you feel the safest. And this right here, this is what's so eye-opening. Over 70%, nearly 3/4 of all cardiac arrests happen at home. At home. This isn't just some abstract public health issue. It's deeply personal. The person who might need your help is probably going to be a family member, a friend, or a neighbor.
Okay, so we've established that knowing what to do is vital. And that brings us to the two main certifications that get you ready to act. CPR, which is cardiopulmonary resuscitation, and BLS, or basic life support. So let's break down exactly what they are, and more importantly, how they're different.
This chart does a fantastic job of laying it all out. You can see at a glance how CPR and BLS stand apart from each other, and also from general first aid. For right now, let's really zero in on those first two columns, CPR and BLS. Here's probably the simplest way to think about it. CPR is for everybody. BLS is for healthcare pros. CPR is designed for the everyday person. You, me, teachers, parents, coworkers. BLS, on the other hand, is that next-level certification for people in medical fields.
So, CPR gives you those foundational life-saving skills. The goal is simple but absolutely essential. You're manually keeping oxygen-rich blood flowing to the brain and other organs to keep them alive. It's the critical bridge between the moment someone collapses and the moment professional help, like paramedics, can take over.
BLS takes everything you learn in CPR and then adds a whole bunch of layers on top of it. It's way more comprehensive. We're talking about things like using advanced airway devices, how to work effectively as part of a two-person rescue team, and making rapid clinical assessments. It's CPR, but plugged into a professional medical framework. Okay, so let's bring this all home. How does this apply to specific jobs right here in Alabama? Because for a lot of professions in our state, getting certified isn't just a good idea, it's the rule.
And you can see it right here in black and white. These documents show just how serious these requirements are. You've got the Alabama Board of Nursing on the left, which recognizes courses like BLS for its licensed nurses. And then on the right, the Alabama High School Athletic Association flat out requires all coaches to be certified in CPR and AED use. These are not suggestions, they are mandatory.
So here's the bottom line, the real takeaway. If your job involves the public in a non-clinical setting, like a teacher, a coach, or a lifeguard, you're almost certainly going to need CPR. But if you work in healthcare in any capacity, from a dentist's office to an ambulance, BLS is going to be the standard. It really all comes down to your profession. All right, so you figured out which one you need. The next question is pretty obvious. Where do you go to get it? And the good news is, training is more flexible and easier to find than it's ever been.
You've got options, which is great. You can take a classic, fully in-person class for that hands-on practice. Or you could do a blended course, where you do all the reading and tests online, and then just pop in for a quick in-person skills check. Oh, and remember, these skills need a refresh, which is why your certification is typically good for 2 years.
And get this is maybe the coolest part. Some organizations, like University Medical Center in Tuscaloosa, actually offer the training itself for free to the community. You only have to pay a small fee if you need that official American Heart Association certification card for your job. It's amazing because it totally removes cost as a reason not to learn these skills. So now, let's circle all the way back to why this is also incredibly important. We've talked about the what and the how. Let's end with the most powerful why. Let's look at the unbelievable difference a trained bystander can make. Okay, this chart is just staggering. Half of all cardiac arrests, nobody even sees them happen. But for those that are witnessed, a bystander, that's someone like you or me, is 3 times more likely to be there than a 911 responder.
The first link in that chain of survival isn't the ambulance, it's the person standing right there.
And that brings us to what I think is the most important slide we've looked at. This is the whole story. When a bystander steps in and actually does CPR, the survival rate skyrockets from that bleak 10.5% all the way up to 37.6%. That isn't just a number, that is more than tripling the chance that someone gets to go home to their family.
And don't just take my word for it. This quote is from right here in Alabama, from the University Medical Center. It says it all. The simple act of doing CPR, a skill you can learn in just a couple of hours, can double or even triple a person's chance of making it. So ultimately, this is what it all comes down to. The massive gap between a 10% chance of survival and a nearly 40% chance, well, that gap is filled by one person. A person who decided to take a class and get trained. The data is just undeniable, and the opportunity to make a difference is right there. The only question left is, will you be that person?